this St. Patrick's Day wreath, all my supplies with the exception of 2 ribbons came from the Dollar Tree. To start this project, you'll need one of the 12-inch willow wreaths. I used 11 bundles of the St. Patrick's Day carnations. For my ribbon, I am using the 2-inch green burlap, along with a 5/8 inch sheer green ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I'm also using a 1.5 inch black and white polka dot ribbon and a 7/8 inch black and white plaid. These both came from Michael's. You'll also need some of the foam shamrocks. You'll need some type of floral wire and a St. Patrick's Day sign. I'm using this 3-piece sign from the Dollar Tree. We're going to cover the wreath with these pretty carnations, so all you need to do is remove each of them from the stem. Using our glue gun, we're now going to attach these flowers to the wreath. I'm using the willow wreath from the Dollar Tree for this project, but they also have a styrofoam wreath and that would work great too. Now that the top and the sides are complete, I finished covering the wreath on the inside with the carnations. I'm now removing the shamrocks that were attached to the carnations. You'll need 8 of them, and some of them are better quality than others, so just pick out your best 8. We're going to be using 8 of the lighter green foam shamrocks. We're going to attach both of them together, and all you need to do is place a little hot glue on the back of the foam shamrock and then place it on top of the sparkly shamrock. Now with the double shamrocks complete, we're going to take apart the St. Patrick's Day sign. I'm going to use all 3 pieces in this project, but personal preference, you can use 1, 2, or all of the pieces. I'm going to use one of the shamrocks to cover the design on the hat. I then just glued it into place. It's now time to attach the shamrocks to the wreath. I want to evenly space them out, so I'm placing the hat just about where I plan to hot glue it into place, so that way I know where to place the shamrocks. Finding their placement before you hot glue them into place also allows you to kind of move them around if you're not exactly happy where you originally placed them. Using my hot glue gun, I put a small dab of hot glue on the bottom stem of the shamrock. I then pressed it down and attached it to the wreath. Now it's time to make our ribbon accents. I cut a piece of cardstock at 7 inches. It just makes it easier for me to cut the ribbons. I'm going to wrap the ribbon around this piece of cardstock 4 times to get my 8 ribbons. I followed the same instructions for all 4 of the patterned ribbons. And now that all the ribbons are cut, I'm going to dovetail the ends. I'm going to cut 2 at a time, and all I do is fold the ribbon in half and then cut away at an angle. I followed these instructions for all my ribbons, except for the sheer. I ended up just cutting that one at a time because it was such a thin ribbon. Now that they're all cut, we're going to put them together and attach them to the wreath. You're going to need some type of wire to hold the ribbons together, and I'm using this floral wire. It's too long for this project. I only need short pieces, so I'm cutting it into 3s. I'm going to layer the ribbons so I have them laid out in a specific order. I'm stacking them all together and then folding them in half to find the center. Once I have my center, I'm taking a piece of the floral wire, wrapping it over the top, flipping the ribbons over, and then twisting them together. Two bundles done and 6 more to go. When you finish, you'll have 8 tiny bouquets of ribbon. I'm going to attach the Happy St. Patrick's Day sign and the hat before I add the ribbons to the wreath. I put them in place before hot gluing them just to make sure that they were exactly where I wanted them to be. Then, using my hot glue gun, I attached them to the flowers. Once the sign was attached, I then attached the hat. When attaching the ribbon, there's a little piece of wire left on the bottom. You can either cut that off, or what I do is just kind of bend it over. This gives the ribbons a flat bottom, so they're easier to attach to the wreath. I'm placing a ribbon in between each of the shamrocks. So all I'm going to do is just find where I want the ribbon to be placed, and then with my hot glue gun, I'm attaching it to the wreath. You're going to continue to work around the wreath until all your ribbons are attached. Now that my ribbons are attached, I'm just going to kind of bend them and straighten them. I'm going to add the little pair of legs to the bottom of the wreath, but this is completely optional. To attach the legs, once again, all I'm doing is using my glue gun and running a thick bead of glue along the top of the legs. Once the legs are attached, I'm now going to add a simple embellishment to his hat. I'm using the black and white plaid and the sheer green ribbon. I'm measuring a tail on the ribbon long enough to cover part of the hat, and then all I'm going to do is make a simple bow. It's definitely a little tricky with 2 ribbons, but I just continued to work at it, and eventually I had a bow. If you don't want to add this bow to your hat and you want to cover the little black hole at the top, simply cover it with a piece of ribbon glued to the back. Now with my bow complete, I make sure that I cut the ribbon, leaving 2 tails. Then, using my glue gun, I attach the 2 ends of the ribbons together. Then, to complete this project, all I do is hot glue the bow over the hole in the hat. Then, to finish, I just tuck the tails down behind the hat and hot glue them into place. And this St. Patrick's Day wreath is complete. I hope you had fun hanging out with me, And if you haven't yet subscribed, don't forget to click that little red subscribe button below. I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.